Now I would like to ask you to join the welcome for the Minister of Finance, Mr.Korn, Chatikavanij, and the panelists.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having me here in Sasin. First of all, if I may, just a few words on the overly kind introductions I received just now from Dr. Termsak. I can only say to you, I would be a lot smarter if I had attended Sasin as a student. And to Kun Kitirat, you know, he was a competitor of mine for over a decade when we were both in the securities industry. And this was the first time ever that he has conceded that mine was a bigger company than his. So, thank you very much. Now, we're here to talk about building confidence. We checked just before entering the room. The market's up 4%, about 20 points. Be nice to say that our job is done. Confidence has returned. But alas, we all know that's not quite the case. And there's a lot more for us to do. In many ways, the problems that we face in Thailand, as you all know, is similar, if not exactly the same, as the problem being faced almost everywhere in the world. The only factor that distinguishes Thailand from the Western economies is the fact that we don't have an asset bubble. In many ways, we went through all that already 11 years ago, and everybody in this room, pretty much, except current alumni of Sasin, were in the eye of the storm. I look around some of the faces attending the seminar today, and we all went through exactly what the United States and the United Kingdom and other Western countries are going through today, 10 or 11 years ago. And in many ways, that set the stage for the differences that we face in the economic problems that we have today. When the subprime problem hit the news, we comforted ourselves here in Thailand that we were buffeted from such a calamity because we didn't have leverage, we didn't have the kind of asset price bubble that these countries face. But we always knew that eventually the waves would hit our shore, largely in terms of real economic impact. And the first wave that hit us affected the very sector that, Tom, you talked about just now as being of crucial importance to our economy, which is the agricultural sector, in terms of agro-product prices. We were all enjoying record high prices as a result of the commodity boom early in the year, only for that dream to crash with a collapse in the prices of our main crops, rice, rubber, tapioca, and palm, right across the board in a very sharp manner. And that has had an immediate impact, of course, on the buying power of the largest segment of our community, and remains a central issue that the government needs to tackle. The secondary impact on the Thai economy, we all know, is the impact on exports. And we've all been relying entirely almost on export as a driver of economic growth for Thailand for the past 2 or 3 years. And the fact that export growth has pretty much collapsed, and we're all anticipating really at best now flat rate of growth in this current year compared to last year, means that GDP growth expectation has also had to be significantly trimmed. At the same time, consumer confidence is still not there, investment is not taking place, and certainly the capacity for foreign investors to make direct or indirect investment into Thailand has also subsided as a result of problems back home for them. So the role and importance of governments, not just here in Thailand, but really across every economy in the world, has been increased. And we all talk about how we're all Keynesian now, which is the famous quote I think Richard Nixon made over 30 years ago. We're back to that same stage, and there doesn't seem to be much dispute amongst the major economies that the need for government spending is of critical importance. And even the IMF and latterly Larry Summers has come out to warn that there's greater danger now of doing too little rather than too much. So from the Thailand's perspective, the question is, what is too little Let's not worry too much yet about what is too much, although I have to worry about that in a couple of hours' time, because from here I'll be going to see the Bank of Thailand, who naturally will be concerned that whatever we do on the government side to stimulate the economy is not too much. I do see some BOT senior executives in this room, and so I hope there's no advance warning sent to the Bank of Thailand of what I'm about to say here today. Now, from Thailand's perspective, and from this current government's perspective, we realize, first of all, that we don't have much time to make a move, a serious move towards regaining of confidence. Undoubtedly, a critical issue impacting Thailand's confidence is the political issue. I won't go in too much about that, but we can discuss it in a Q&A session afterwards. But clearly that remains one of the biggest risks to Thailand in our efforts to regain the level of confidence required to provide a boost to the economy.